Hey, welcome back to my channel. Hey, baby. Hey, this is the recap Aunty Shar. Hey, welcome, honey. We are here for Friday's episode, but before I get started, I wanted to read a couple of comments, at least one from yesterday's video, from Miss Cynthia Judkins 2250. Hey, sis. She said, Leslie, if I was Ted or anybody for that matter, keep your eyes on Leslie at all times. Girl, it's hard to keep our eyes on Leslie because she be changing on us all the time. Well, anyway, thank you so much for your comments. They really do make my day. And if you leave a comment, I promise I'll read it. So let's get on to today's episode. We open up with episode number 63, Vernon walking in. We open up with the gorgeous gray locks of Anita, and he's calling her name. Anita. Girl, what is you reading, mama? Honey, they got their own menu. So she's sitting there looking at her menu. She didn't hear what he was calling her name. He was like, Miss Rowena is working her magic, no doubt. Wait a minute, y'all got a menu for your own house? Where is Rowena? She's right here. Her name is Shar. So Vernon was like, well, can I take a look and take a peek at it to see what we get? She said, no. This is a secret until we are sitting at that table with Sharon and Tracy. So he asked her, well, what time they coming? Ooh, honey, we gonna see Sharon and Tracy. Last time Anita talked to them, their plane had landed, honey, and they was collecting their luggage, so they should be there at the mansion very, very soon. Ooh. The doorbell rings, so Anita was like, ooh, honey, I ain't mean it was that soon. So Vernon was like, baby, you want me to go get it? Anita was like, she taking her breath, baby. She pointed at him, made him stop in his tracks. He's like, I got you. Don't worry about it. I'm here. Girl, it's Tracy. And ain't no Sharon. And he was like, Tracy, where's Sharon? And so the next scene we get at Uptown and Pamela's on the phone. And the cut to that was so brilliant. She's on the phone. She's like, look, I don't know where she is. That was so cute. Go ahead, beyond the gate. But she's on her way. So she's looking for Danny. So Danny finally arrives, honey. So, baby, when you have a long night and you show up with some dark shades, that's how Danny showed up today for today's lunch. I guess Pamela and her are going to be meeting up with the prospect model. And so Danny was like, girl, what a night. So Pamela's like, girl, how are you? And so Danny was like, girl, my ex-husband's child bride is also with child. Girl, I am fabulous. So Pamela's like, well, I'm going to stroke your ego right now and tell you that you do look fabulous. So Danny is like, well, if success is the greatest revenge, then we will need to fill our agency. We got to fill our agency, baby, with the most beautiful faces and bodies on this earth. So Pammy was like, girl, yeah, we need some more men. And so Danny's not paying no attention. She's in her Danny zone. And she's like, well, Diego is a no. But we still are needing some men that are like the most specific and yummiest and sexiest specimen that will keep the women wanting more. Okay, so Adam got a role. Okay, hey Adam. So he's the one, light skin bro, earrings, light skin, goatee, mustache, low cut, cutie pie. Okay, y'all be bringing on the eye candy. So I guess Pammy has been talking to him, so he tells Danny, it's very, really nice to meet you, Miss Dupree. So Danny is like looking at him like he's some type of specimen, like she said earlier. And she's like, nice voice, great hair, great skin, teeth. She's like, your teeth. And she's tapping her teeth. That's ASMR. He's like, oh, and he put this big Grimace Kool-Aid smile. Look up Grimace and Kool-Aid, y'all young ones. You'll know exactly what I'm talking about. So she was like, so far so good. Portfolio, headshot, resume. Bring it, baby. He was like, I'm afraid I didn't bring anything with me like that. He said Pamela didn't tell me I needed to do that. So Pam is like, oh, well, Danny, Adam is not a model. So Danny was like, girl, everybody got to start somewhere. So Adam, what do you feel about nudity? I know you know about the Garden of Eden. He looks at Pamela. He's like, look, Pamela, please rescue me. So yeah, so Pam was like, go ahead. So Pam was like, go ahead. I want to see how far you can put your foot into your mouth. So Pam was sipping her drink and leaning back in the chair. So Danny was like, wait a minute, am I missing something? So, Danny forgot to like introduce herself. She finally clicks. She's like, I am Danny Dupree and you are, and he says, Adam, I'm a friend of Pam's. And he says, but this has been the oddest introduction of my life. So Pammy was like, girl, Adam, honey, he owns a jewelry company. He is here to meet with you. And poor Danny, she just smiles like, shit, I do have my foot, these Louis Vuittons in my mouth. So we are at Kat's house or somebody's house, and so she's there with Mona, and we see the Febreze can. Hey, Febreze, those product placements, don't they just lovely? Anyway, Kat is donating a whole lot of her clothes, and some of that stuff is practically brand new. So clearly, Mona is collecting clothes for the needy. So Mona be saying these people out here be donating trash with holes and everything in them. So Kat was like, "Well, we need to be donating better. Shouldn't we give people what they need? Because what we need, it makes us feel better about the world, about the environment, right?" Okay, Kat. So, Mona was like, "Okay, you made a good point, Kat. I'm very impressed." And so Kat kind of got a little bit offended. She's like, "Well, I am more than just a spoiled rich girl, you know." She's like, "Look, I care about people." And Mona was like, "Well, who said you don't?" So Kat was like, "Somebody who ought to know me better. We all know who that is." And Mona's looking like, girl. Mona ain't say nothing. She just waved her hand for Kat to sit down and say, mm-hmm. That's how a woman with power, that's what we do. We ain't got to say nothing. Anyway, they sit down on the couch and Mona asks her, so how was dinner with your dad? So Kat was like, "Well, what you talking about, the one it didn't happen?" She was like, "Oh my God, which one did he cancel?" She was like, "Girl, I went there. He gave me a key card to go into his hotel room, but hell, I should have knocked first." And so Mona was like, "Why? What happened, child?" She tells her that she walked in on Dad and Eva's mom. Good for you, Kat. Don't say her name, because when you say it 3 times, that bitch might show up like Beetlejuice, Beetlejuice, and we go next scene. We show up at the hotel with Ted. So Ted hears a knock on the door. This time that nigga looked around the corner. He opened the door. I'm like, nigga, you got a peephole. Nigga, use the peephole. He opens the door real gingerly, and so he sees that it's Dre, it's Andre. He's like, man. Thank God, because I don't know who the fuck that was. So Andre is like, what's up? What's up? Oh, I got some coffee for you. At least Ted admitted that shit. He was like, you scared me, man. I thought you was Dana. And then Andre was like, look, her name's Leslie now. And so Ted was like, well, whoever the fuck she is, she came through here last night. And so Andre was like, what? To refund you that 50K that you gave her, right? To get the fuck away. And she's still here. So she need to give you back that money. So Ted was like, nah, to discuss even. Andre was like, wait a minute, so you two are trying to co-parent now? She a grown woman. So Ted was like, yeah, that's the cover story. And Andre was like, nah, don't tell me. Please don't. He talking about, yeah, she threw herself all on me. Half mosh pit and half trust fall. for some nookie sexy time. And so Dre was like, and you caught her. He said, look, yeah, I did. He said, if I hadn't, she'd be accusing me right now of malpractice on that ass. He said, wait, man, look, there's more, man. Kat walks in. And Dre was like, oh, no. Come on. That couldn't have gone over well, right? Oh, damn. Ted is like, man, the look of disgust and disappointment on my baby girl's face, it just about killed me, man. So Andre was like, well, Kat knows that you would never be involved with Leslie, right? I mean, right? So while he's getting dressed, he's telling Andre, he's like, look, 2 weeks ago, you could have told Kat that I'd make the sun rise and make the sun set and make it snow in California, baby, because I was God to her. But now, man, I don't know what that child think. That baby took one look and practically ran the fuck out of here. So Andre was like, so you don't know? So Ted was like, look, whatever it is, man, make it good. So Dre was like, listen, Kat has evidence that Leslie tried to murder Laura. So we are back at Leslie's apartment, baby, and she got her Beats by Dre on, and she listening to some music and hanging up some stuff. So she looks on her top shelf and she and so she knocks down a bag, and of course that's the gloves and the helmet from the night that she tried to run that child over with that damn motorcycle. And we see this commercial of her flinging her hair back. Remember, she took the helmet off and she did this whole cover girl, Brett had shampoo, shaking her body hair all over the place to reveal that she was the one on that damn motorcycle. I didn't know she kissed the damn helmet. Well, she kissed it. So she came back to reality and she's like, oh shit. She didn't say that, but the look on her face is like, oh shit. So as she snaps back into it and she's trying to put the glove and the helmet back in that bag, Eva walks in. She still got the key. How? I thought she locked Eva out. Anyway, Eva walks in and she sees that Leslie is doing something to that bag. And the look on Eva's face is like she see that damn helmet and she see the gloves. She see what her mother's trying to do. She's shocked as hell. And because Leslie has the headphones on, she don't hear that she came in the door. Ooh. So Eva saw her, but she closed the door because again, Leslie had the earphones on, so she never saw Eva come in and saw her fiddling with that bag. So Eva, you could hear Eva in the hallway, Ma, Mommy, are you home? So Leslie's, oh shit. So she went and ran and put the bag back in the closet, closed the door, and then she went to go open the door for Eva. So she comes in, she's like, hey, Mama. She's like, hey. And so Eva was like, what took you so long? Oh, girl, I was just listening to the Temptations. You know they're my favorite group, girl. Have you seen the newest lead singer, honey? Side note, you know that Michelle Valjean, she's the creator. She is a huge fan of the Temptations. They went to go see them maybe like 3 weeks ago. She met Otis, and she's also she went to go see Ain't Too Proud to Beg. I brought my ticket so that I could see Ain't Too Proud to Beg real soon. I've never seen it, so I'm excited about seeing it. And it's because of Miss Michelle mentioning it on her page. Go follow her. She's real cool. But anyway, they got a new lead singer. I wonder, it's her husband. Look at my short and you'll see. I think it's her husband. I think he sings in the group with the Temptations. I think. I could be wrong. You know Auntie be wrong. Okay, shut up, Shar. Okay, back to the show. That's him. That's her husband. She's like, you seen that new lead singer? Honey, he fine. It was sexy ball self. Look at my short. The man who's singing next to her, singing next to Trisha, that's her husband. I believe he's the new lead singer for the Temptations. Ain't that something? Y'all better throw him in there. Go ahead, y'all. So Eva is really unfazed and unbothered. She was like, well, you wanted me to come by and get the rest of my things, so here I am. So Leslie's like, oh. So Eva was about to go to one part of the apartment, and Leslie grabbed her and said, no. Your pal is right over there waiting for your ass. So Eva was like, you have a suitcase? I mean, you just put my shit like it's like trash. So Leslie's like, well, surprisingly, that trash bag is really, really strong. I mean, it's really strong. Or you can borrow a box. Just bring it back. Girl, you want her to bring the box back, girl. So Eva grabs the trash bag full of her stuff and puts it in the box. And so Leslie, there she go with the dagger, honey. It didn't take you long to get all sedity on me. Until you have a suitcase. And just make sure that you don't put any of my belongings in there. I know that how you have a predilection for borrowing other people's clothing. Oh, by the way, I ran into your so-called sister last night. And so Eva was like, you did? And Leslie's like, I'm like, where? Oh, at your daddy's place. I could be wrong, but I have a funny feeling that Cat does not like me. When we go back to that, we're actually at Nicole's house. We don't see Nicole. It's just Mona and Kat are sitting there with in front of the box full of donation clothes. And so Mona was like, honey, is there anything that girl and that woman will not do? And so it's just sad. So she's like, I know the whole vomit inducing touchy feely thing that she was doing on my dad last night was all created for my viewing pleasure. I have no doubt. It was egregiously hideous. And then we see Nicole. We haven't seen Nicole all week, have we? No, we haven't. This is the first day we've seen her. And she got her little, like, purple. What's that? Purple. It's not purple. Lavender. She probably smell like that's a Febreze. Nicole has been looking good. Ever since she got pissed with Ted, she been looking really cute. Ain't no more demure suits, honey. It's like tight, low cut, and sexy. Go ahead, Nicole. So Nicole walks in and asks, well, what you talking about? What happened? So Mona's like, girl, don't tell her. No. So Kat was like, oh, nothing, mama. So Kat was like, "Oh, it's about this outfit that was hideous, Mom, that I donated to Mona's church." And so Nicole was like, "Okay, enough secrets, honey. Tell me what the fuck is going on." So Kat was like, "Okay, Mom, you're right. There is something you should know." So we're back at the hotel with Ted and Dre. And so he was like, "Wait a minute. So there is footage of Leslie actually going into Laura's hospital room?" So Dre was like, "Nah, it's actually footage of somebody going into that room, but it's the same night that Laura had her heart thing happen." So Ted was like, "Look, she went into a cardiac arrest, okay? That's extremely serious. So you're saying that this person can't be identified? We don't know who they is?" And Dre was like, "Nah, she was in disguise." So Ted was like, "Man, that's Dana MO, honey. That's her MO." Ted tells Andre that he was going to ask Eva if he knew that her mom was trying to target Laura at all, but when he went over to her room, Dana was there instead. So Dre was like, "Look, I ain't said nothing, right?" And so Ted was like, "It did sound a little loud over here." So Dre, just like everybody else is saying, even the audience is saying, "Okay, now, you two have been spending a lot of time together lately. That's all. That's all I'm saying." Ted is like, "She's stalking me, obviously. Look, the only woman that I only want to be with is my wife." I mean, you know the Duprees, the family that resists together, persists together. They both said the same thing. So Ted was like, "Oh, you can laugh all you want to, Dre, but if the Duprees want your ass on the outside, well, that's where you gonna stay." So we're back at Anita and Vernon and Tracy. So Vernon asked Tracy, "What happened to Sharon?" So here go Anita, honey, just taking over the conversation. "Oh, she didn't come. Mm-mm. She didn't want. She don't want to see my face. She don't want to hear my name. She don't want to say my name. She don't want to be here at all." And Tracy was like, "She's resting at the hotel." Vernon was like, "See, ain't nothing to worry about." So Tracy was like, "We're gonna have lunch a little later at Orphe Jean's," and Anita was like, "No, not no such a thing. Rowena is getting everything ready for lunch here." Tracy was like, "Sharon wanted Orphe Jean's, honey. She saw the reviews and she heard it's the best. She wants to eat there." So Vernon was like, "Well, you know how Vernon, he be want everybody to go like he did with Martin and them. Well, you know what? All of us can go." And so Tracy was like, "Wait a minute, Vernon, wait a minute now. I think that it might flow better if it's just me and Sharon, all right? We don't need you there." And so she looks at over at Anita and she said, "For now." And so Anita was like, "You mean not me?" So Tracy was like, "Look, if everything goes well, you can see her after that, all right?" Anita says, "And if it doesn't?" Tracy's like, "Girl, you better start praying." Vernon was like, "Don't worry about that. We got a few that we can pray about." So Tracy tell her, "Girl, I'll let you know." And as Tracy leaves, Anita follows behind her with her little kitten heels on. She's like, "Tracy." So Tracy turns around. She's like, "Girl, I do my best." And she leaves. And then Anita says, "I have a bad feeling about this, Vernon." Oh. So we are back at Uptown with Pammy and Danny and Adam. And so Danny tells him, it's been ages since I've been handed a man. And he's not even on a crystal plate. Go ahead, Danny. So she looks at Pamela, is like, "What is a girl to do, honey?" So she looks at Adam and says, "All right, tell me everything." So Pamela's like, "Oh, girl." So he's recently divorced, and so Danny had asked about his status, and so he said he's recently divorced, and so she's like, "Funny, I haven't seen you at any of the meetings." She's really on a whole nother tilt, girl. Get it together, Danny. And he's like, "I'm on town on business, and I would love to take you." And Danny's like, be careful. I have done everything and seen it all, honey." She's like, "And do not say dinner." He says, "I want to take you shopping." I was like, She's like, "Well, I do like some shopping." He was like, "Oh, or I could finagle a private tour at the Smithsonian. I hope it's still there. Y'all already know why." He throwing some game. He's like, "It's something about when you're in the room, with a ruby, and it's just you and that ruby. Something magical happens. I'm really, really into jewelry." And so Danny was like, "Well, who is it?" "Girl, not me, because I love me some jewelry." She was like, "It was a pleasure to meet you." And so Pammy was like, "We'll be in touch." And so he's like, "Always a pleasure. Ciao." And then Danny was like, "Ciao for now." Oops, I thought it was Danny. That was Pammy. She said, "Ciao for now." Okay, what is you doing, Pam? You trying to get her with this young guy to Like they said, the best way to get over somebody is to get under somebody else. You try to let him get under Adam so she can get over Andre. I got you. But if I know Danny, she might like to be in the middle of both of them. So he leaves. And so Pammy was like, he's handsome, successful. He's single. You're single. So Danny was like, girl, I'm not interested. If I need a man, I'll find a man. Pammy says, if you had a man. And so Danny was like, excuse me? I beg your pardon. And Pammy was like, Adam is a catch, girl. I don't know why you're so opposed. It's not like you're seeing somebody. Now we are back at the hotel with Ted and Andre because, you know, we showed Danny thinking about Andre. So Ted talks about, you know, the Duprees, baby. The deafening silence can drown out the noise of 100 others. It's like they know how to really forge together when they need to protect each other. Ted talks about how much he used to admire how they used to pull together like that all for one. He was like, but when you on the outside of that, when you ain't on the inner circle of the Duprees, it's a cold world outside of that circle because their devotion is a whole nother story. So she, you know, he said, Dana, she got just what she wanted. She ostracized me from the inner circle. And so Andre was like, oh, I mean, Leslie, we don't know what she's going to do. She's unpredictable. He was like, look, your job is to pull Nicole closer, right? And so Ted is like, how? It's like, what? Really? You've been with this lady for 20 years and you don't know how to pull your own wife closer? Ted. He says he can send her something, but she ain't trying to get no gifts from him right now. So he's like, you know, Andre was like, I do got a lot of photos of y'all. Maybe I can make an album for you. He was like, look, I'm trying to pawn off the photos from that party, all right, nephew? I don't think we need no reminders of that. So he's like, you know what? Just burn all those pictures. Everything that's regarding the party, all of that. Just burn that shit. Oh, okay. So we go back to Nicole and Kat. And so Kat actually shows Nicole the video of someone dressed as a nurse going into Laura's hospital room the night that her potassium levels spiked. So Mona apologizes that she couldn't identify her. And so Nicole was like, you know, this is incredible, but it doesn't matter because there's no evidence to prove that she can do it, especially against them. You know, they don't have any proof that she did that shit. So Nicole was like, she's not only determined, but she's clever. And so Kat was like, Mama, I'm not giving up. And she's like, girl, that should have been your middle name. Catherine, not giving up Richardson. So Nicole was like, you know, like always says, when life seems to be out of control, do something good for somebody else. That's a good gesture. That's a good thing. I'm going to start doing. Well, I do that already. So Mona was like, amen, girl. So let's go ahead and get these clothes sorted out so we can go ahead and take them at the church and let Nicole have her house back again because we got it in a hot mess. So Nicole was like, I have been enjoying the company, but I'm going to run upstairs and see if I can give y'all some other things that you can donate to the church. So Kat pulls out this really cute classic leather jacket. It's nice. So Kat puts on the jacket and it looks cute on her. So she turns around and so she puts her hands in the pocket. And so she pulls out a piece of paper. So Nicole was like, well, if that's a lottery ticket, you could throw it in the trash. So she looks at the paper. She's like, this is definitely not no damn lottery ticket. So she holds it up to Nicole. So the next scene, we're back at Leslie's apartment with Eva. And so Eva just tells her mama, look, the best thing that you need to do and the safest thing that you need to do, girl, is stay away from Kat. Then Leslie was like, recording me secretly? Well, yeah, right. I've never felt so violated. Eva was like, honey, I know the feeling. And so Leslie's like, ooh, you want to say something? Say it. She's like, look, I still haven't gotten over you accusing me of trying to kill Laura. And for you to say that shit on tape to Kat? I was defending you, Leslie says. I mean, the whole thing ain't true anyway. I mean, who cares anyway? And it's not like there's a shred of evidence that says that I was riding that hog when Laura went out of control. So I'm right as rain. Girl. So we're back at the the mansion with the Vernon and Anita. So he's sitting in his chair looking at the paper and so he sees that little file that Anita was looking through earlier. Remember she said she was looking at the menu? Remember she said that Rowena had lunch ready for them and she was just looking through it? Well, he reached to get up and go get the file. So by the time he opened it, that damn Anita rushed in. Vernon, what are you doing? He was like, I was looking through it to see, what Rowena was going to cook. And so she says, oh, she's not going to do anything. She's not making anything right now. I called that shit off. A fancy lunch prepared by a personal chef on the first day might be a bit too much. He's like, you're right. You're right. We'll keep it nice and simple when Sharon gets here. Assuming that she'll get here at all. And baby, we see Miss Sharon, honey. We had Orphy Jeans. She already looked like she would. I cannot wait. So her and Tracy meet at Orphy Jeans, and Sharon tells Tracy, girl, you don't have to hug me every time you see me, girl. Tracy's like, girl, I will hug you as much as I want. That's how I am, honey. I am a hugger. I don't know no strangers. I hug people. So they sit down at the booth, and so Sharon was like, okay, nice place. She's like, smells good. And so Tracy was like, take a look around. Do you see any familiar faces, honey? A certain trio. So Tracy looks on the wall and she sees their picture. So Sharon is like, well, what do you know? So she points at the little jukebox that's on the table. Tracy does. She said, girl, look, this jukebox right here. It plays all of our songs for the whole world to hear. Sharon says, I wonder how many demands the queen made before that happened. Ooh. Tracy was like, girl, don't go there, girl. She was like, how many people she used and abused to get her way? That's what Sharon said. And Tracy was like, was this a mistake bringing you here? And so Sharon was like, maybe. And girl, I'm paying you back as soon as for the airfare and the hotel as soon as I get back to Chicago. All right? Tracy tell her, girl, you just hush. You don't owe me a thing, girl. So Sharon's like, next time it's on me. So Tracy's like, well, girl, Vernon and Anita, can't wait to see you. Sharon was like, now, if they thought that this was going to be some kind of sweet family reunion, they got another thing coming. We are back at Uptowns, and we see Haley and Danny, and so Haley, I'm sorry. Because Haley is on the screen, the word. We see Pammy and Danny talking. So Pammy's like, girl, it's time for you to forge a new trail, honey, especially given Haley's announcement. It's time for you to move forward, boo. And Danny was like, I do not give a fuck about that imaginary embryo. Pammy was like, girl, are you kidding me? Everything you damn do is a reaction to Bill and Haley. Everything. Danny was like, example. Pammy was like, that kiss you planted on me? Danny was like, I didn't know they were there. And Pammy was like, oh, please. And Pammy was like, I will never forget when Bill and Haley made that wedding announcement, girl. So Danny screams in the middle of the restaurant. She's like, okay, will no one say this? She is faking her pregnancy. So Pammy was like, oh, for God's sake. Let's just say for the sake of argument that this shit is real, girl. I just need to know that your ass is not going to show up in the delivery room packing heat. So Danny was like, well, so since when are you the protector of Bill and Haley Hamilton? Pammy was like, since Bill and Haley Hamilton have gotten on with their lives, your damn life needs to move on too. Danny was like, I'm starting the agency, girl, with my best friend. I'm moving on. I have never felt more fulfilled. And Pammy was like, girl, you need to get out there and meet a nigga or a man. A man. She says a guy, but I like to say a man. So Danny was like, girl, don't get it twisted. I meet them frequently. And Pammy was like, I'm giving Adam your contact information. And you need to get back on the horse. Danny was like, all right, if you must know, I already have a horse, thank you. And I am enjoying the damn ride, okay? And then Pammy says, oh my God. So we're back at the hotel with Ted and Andre. And so Ted apologizes to Andre, telling him, he didn't mean to offend Andre. He's like, yeah, telling me to burn my work? Yeah, that's offensive, man. So Ted tells Andre, like, I appreciate the gesture, man. I appreciate you trying to help. But, nigga, relationship, nigga, you, and, that's not no yin and yang. He was like, Andre was like, Unc, I've had him. Yeah, I've had him. I know something about something. He was like, with emotions? This is Ted asking him. With last names? So I guess, the women that he's met, they probably was named Sasha or, Kiki or Brenda or, just all first names. And he is all about the Uchi Coochie la la la. He tells Ted, he said, you and Aunt Nicole really do belong together. You're starting to sound just like her. Ted was like, well, maybe you need to start listening to us because I care about you, nephew. And these revolving situationships ain't the same as having someone who really matters, boy, who can actually change your life in ways you can't even comprehend. Now, I know you've had a long list of flings, of faceless and nameless flight attendants and models. Andre gets offended. Now, well, look, they weren't all nameless. So Ted was like, all right. He folds his arms. He folds his arms like, okay, give me one. Come on, come on. Give me one out of 1,000. Come on, name me one that you can even remember. You know why? Because you can't, because they ain't none. And that's cool. And then Andre interrupts and says, you want a name, huh? Unc, you want a name? Ooh, he said, okay, you want a name, Unc? You want a name? How about Danny? Ooh. So Ted was like, Danny? And he points at himself. He's like, my sister-in-law. So Andre was like, look, man, she was going through a hard time and I was there for her. She was going through a hard time because of Bill's ass. So I was there for her. So Ted was like, is that what we're calling it, huh? And so Andre says he really does care a lot about Danny. So Ted was like, wait a minute, so this is more than casual. He's like, for me, perhaps. For her, she's still recovering for that jackass. So she's definitely not down for nothing deep right now. We're just taking it chill, and Ted is looking like, man, Ted, you asked for a name. You kept digging in his ass asking for a name. He gave you a name, and now you shocked. Ted, get out of here. Side note, Keith is doing good, y'all. I'm sorry. He's doing really good. I'm really proud of him. So we're back at not at Orphe Jeans. We're back at Uptown. So Pam was like, Andre, and so Danny was like, shh, girl, be quiet, keep it down. So Pam was like, I thought he wasn't texting you back. She's like, well, maybe I'm the problem. This is what Danny says. Maybe I'm the problem. I'm completely unhinged right now, and I need some dick. She's like, I don't know what I'm doing, and so Pammy says, well, apparently you're sleeping with your sister's nephew. She's like, technically, Andre is related to Ted, and my family tree, that limb is on a different tree in a different neck of the forest. And so Pam was like, oh, thank you for that clarification. And so Danny was like, you going to keep this a secret because Nicole is in a very, very hurtful, very angry place right now because of Ted's love child, okay? So Pam was like, so if Nicole finds out that you're having secret sex with her nephew, what she's gonna do? Skin you alive? So Danny was like, I have to spend the next decade of my life in therapy because you can't keep your fucking mouth shut. When Chelsea said her mother is the most, honey, she is the most. So Pamela's like, my mouth isn't the issue in this particular situation. Ooh, there could be so many meanings behind that statement. She's like, okay. Danny is like, okay, moving on right now. Nicole is not in a good place right now, okay? And I do not want her to misconstrue this as a like a betrayal. This is the last thing that she needs to hear, and I'm making sure that she doesn't. Wait a minute, how did Kat get that leather jacket? Well, anyway, they're back to the house with Nicole, Mona, and Kat. And Kat is looking at the receipt that was in the jacket. So she says the receipt is a parking ticket for a motorcycle the same night of Laura's accident. So she remembers seeing security footage. So yeah, and so she's saying this might be the jacket that the driver was wearing. How did it get over there in y'all box? Now, Beyond the Gates, I love y'all, but this don't make no damn sense. How did the jacket that Leslie was wearing back on April the 7th get into the box of donations at damn Kat's house in her clothes? Whose box is that? Let me push play so I can find out what the fuck is going on. So Nicole was like, my girl, what are the chances? So Mona was like, we'll find out. What's the address? And it's 1234 Green Arbor something way. So it's close to the accident. That address is definitely close to near that accident. So they both, Mona and Kat, are looking on their phones. Shit, Mona and Kat might become Cagney and Lacey. So they look at the receipt, and there's another receipt for a coffee shop. And so she signs the name Cheriec. So Kat asked Nicole, what was the name of the that she used when she was on the ledge? She said Sherry Carter, but what was it was with an SH and a Y. But then they said, how easy would it be for a barista to misspell her name? And that is true. I've heard stories that baristas at the coffee shop will write the name incorrect. They will spell my name wrong all the time. I'm not a coffee lover, but they will put CHR on this shit all day. And it's clearly S, but they will push C all day long. So, okay. I just need to know, how did that jacket get over there to y'all house? So Kat was like, Sherry C is Sherry Carter, aka Leslie Thomas, aka Dana whatever, and Dana whatever. This was the jacket that Leslie was using when she ran Laura off the road. How did the jacket get in y'all house? Can y'all answer me that? Riddle me that. Okay. All right. I had to push play and watch it a little bit more. Because they went to the same church around that time, when Leslie committed the crime, she wanted to get rid of some things that would not tie her to the crime. So she donated the jacket to the church. But why are you still holding? Well, I guess they do a big donation around this time of year, girl. Yeah, it's a little bit over a month ago, so maybe they don't donate every month. And maybe she just got, I don't know. But whatever happens, Leslie clearly donated that jacket to the church's donation. And so as Mona was making her rounds, going over to Kat's house, she just happened to have that box with her. Piss on my leg and tell me it's raining, BTG, please. So Nicole was like, girl, I understand that, but it's not enough proof. And so she like the receipt, the parking ticket, the receipt for the coffee, the jacket, and the video shows that she was in the vicinity. But, you know, it does prove that she was near there. So Nicole was like, well, is that enough to get her ass arrested? So we're back at Leslie and Eva. So Leslie tells her, grab your things. I have places to be. Well, Eva was like, well, Mama, I can come back later. And Leslie's like, girl, do it now. What are you waiting for? Just get out of here. Go. You don't need to be around me forever. Like, why are you kicking this girl out so, ooh. So Eva was like, what if I like being around you? I mean, you're my mama. So Leslie's like, well, now you got better. I'm telling you, that lady didn't have that girl. She didn't have her. You're welcome. So Eva was like, Mama, please don't be like that. And then Leslie with this sad music in the background. All your life has just been you and me. And even when Alan was here, it's like you knew all my secrets, all my fears, my stories. I trusted you with parts of my soul that I never shared with anyone. And what do? You just throw me to the dust and get buddy with the Richardsons. So Eva was like, girl, he is my pappy, Mama. This whole plan, throwing Ted out of the water in front of Nicole and Dupree's and anybody else who happened to be in the room, was supposed to be about me being accepted as his daughter. Remember? And Leslie's like, and there you are. And so now you get to run around and run to get to know your new kinfolk and tell them how crazy your mama is. And thank God that they saved you. And Eva tells her, as much as you hate me and you wish that I was gone, I still wish that I was with you, Mama. We get each other. And Leslie's like, child. Eva says, I really do miss you, Mama. And Leslie's like, you miss me? Ooh, Leslie said, I blessed the day you walked out. Eva was like, you kicked me out. And then Leslie's like, whatever. It was the best thing for the both of us, Leslie says. And I don't need you a minute more cramping my style since birth. So you go on over there and stay in your little fancy hotel with your little fancy folk. I got plenty to do without you in my hair. So Eva crying to get Mama. And so Leslie's like, Key. And so Eva was like, Mama, can I just keep it in case? And girl, run me that key. So Leslie tells her, you want to visit Mama? Then I'll tell you what you do. That bitch knock on the door. She said, like everybody else. Now take your things and leave. Wow, this is the most vulnerable we've seen Leslie. This is a long, no words part at the end of that scene. Eva gives her the key picks up her box and just looks at her mother. And Leslie has one tear going down. She has that Denzel Washington tear, like in Glory. It goes down, and then she eventually has the other one. And Eva is a crier, honey. For best cry, the award goes to Eva Thomas, because that girl can cry anyway. And it was very sad. This is the most vulnerable I've seen Leslie, but I still don't think that she has a connection with that child, because it ain't her. It ain't her baby. I just don't believe that she would treat a child that much. And I think that she probably treated Alan even worse because he wasn't Ted. I think she killed that man. I really believe she did. So we're back with Anita and Vernon, and he tells her that he needs to apologize. And she's like, "Wow, you didn't do anything." He's like, "Except make you get your hopes up. You really don't want to go on a concert or a tour. It's a lot of work. I mean, you got enough to do around here with your charities and the family. I mean, who needs hours of rehearsing and relearning harmonies and choreographies? Let the younger generation do that shit. You just sit and live a nice, well-ordered life. I should have never, ever encouraged you to do this reunion. It's only caused hurt and uncertainty." Anita says, "If you think that reverse psychology is going to work," he says, "well, we know each other better than that." He tells her that all he wanted for her was just for her happiness. That's all. And he said, "For a minute, I really thought that this reunion would give you that. I thought in your heart that you were still an articulate and that you really, really wanted this concert. If I've been wrong, baby, this whole time, just say the word. I'll stop this train right now." He give that deep, dark stare. Because it don't take but a snap of Vernon's finger to send them home, honey. Because you ain't gonna fuck with his Nita. The world does not need to know about how close we almost got to a reunion of one of the hottest girl groups in history. I mean, we'll just go back to living our lives as we always have. And then they hug each other. So now we are back at Orphe Jean's with Sharon and Tracy. So Tracy's looking at her like, "Okay, you've eaten, right? You're nice and full." That's how we do it, honey. You just can't be nice and you just can't be full. You got to be nice and full. Tracy was like, "Well, now can we talk?" And Miss Sharon was like, "I suppose." Tracy was like, "Look, there has been enough anger, enough sorrow, decades, honey. Don't you think it's time for us to stop punishing ourselves for things that are beyond our control or our comprehension?" And Miss Sharon was like, "Why do you always make excuses for her?" Tracy was like, "Girl, I'm just trying to move on, honey. I'm just trying to move the hell on. Just celebrate the fact that all three of us are still alive. Whatever that looks like." And Sharon was like, "Well, you might have a convenient memory, but I'm not the one that's going to forget nothing." And Tracy was like, "Typical. Because you were the one that always remembered everything. The lyrics and the harmonies, even down to the last detail." And Sharon says, "And you're true to form, Miss Mother Teresa, absolving Anita from all of her sins. What's the philosophy? Time heals. Is that it?" And Miss Tracy was like, "It puts the past in a softer focus. Softens the sharper edges, that's all." Sharon was like, "Well, Anita is one hell of an actress, honey. And I can see all through her shit. And if I don't feel some genuine regret," Tracy's like, "Girl, look, I've spent time with her, okay? And Anita has the same hole in her heart that we both have. We both carry. We were sisters." And Sharon was like, "Closer. And that's what makes what happen." And Tracy's like, "A long time ago, sis. It's time for you to loosen your grip on that girl. The force that brought us together when we were just kids. It was so powerful. It was rare. I mean, have you experienced that power since, girl? Look, let's just get together and let's see what it feels like when all three of us are together again. All right? I mean, who knows? Maybe lightning can strike twice." So we are back at Uptowns with Pammy and Danny. So she's like, "Oh my God." Pammy was like, "Oh, so an award-winning photographer. Handsome, gorgeous, brilliant smile, brilliant mind. Oh." Honey, Pam asked, "Does he do everything well?" And she has two cherries on the end of a what is that called? A little sword from her glass that she had, a little toothpick. Yeah, that's what it is. And she wants to know. She asks Danny, "Does he do everything well?" And Danny says, "Girl, he deserve a throne in the Lover's Lane Hall of Fame, baby." But, girl, you must promise that this stays between you and me, honey. All right? So Pammy was like, you want it, you got it. But I do wonder how your lover is going to feel about your particular arrangement, however. And so Danny told me he's fine with it. No, he ain't, girl. So Pammy was like an outlier. And so Danny was like, in what way? So Pammy tells her, well, normally when a man has something going with a gorgeous, sexy woman, they just can't wait to tell the world, which is true. That is true. When a man finds somebody that he feels is sexy and stuff like that and gorgeous and he wants to share it with the world, honey, she ain't lying about that. So we're back at the hotel with Andre and Ted, and he was like, come on, Unc. Andre was like, come on, tell me the words. I need to hear them. And so Ted is still in shock. He's like, look, I promise, not a word to nobody about you and Danny. He sounds so fucking shocked. So Andre was like, come on now, let me hear the rest. And so Ted was like, what rest? The disapproval, Andre says, the anger, the, don't you know that's fam? She your family, dude. Ted was like, that's Nicole's family. It's not ours. And so Andre was like, exactly. And so Ted was like, look, I've already given you chapter and verse on the rest. And he was like, unless hearing it again will make you change your mind. And so Andre was like, nah, you ain't got to do that. Danny already has. He was like, Andre goes off to do his monologue since when they first got started. He thought he was having some type of interlude with the former hot, model. He says, what I get now, man, is sex with benefits, friendship, laughter, deep as fuck conversations. And she's a woman that brings out my protective instincts. She challenges my deeper sense of self. And she don't want nobody to know about us either. So Ted was like, sounds like to me you care more about her than she does about you. And he was like, well, Andre was like, I feel like she cares, but she's not trying to admit that she cares. But I believe she cares just as much as I do. He's like, well, maybe I'm just doing some wishful thinking because we all know that Danny Dupree can do a whole lot better than me. And then Andre's like, I just hope it takes her a while to find that out. And so Ted is like, you sound like me talking about Nicole. So Andre was like, that ain't that deep, Unc. He was like, let's see, but what you just said, now this is the guy I thought I knew before we started this conversation. So Ted offers him a caveat. He's like, look, you and Danny got some time to work about how compatible you are. But if you hurt her, he's like, not even my plastic surgery skills will be able to put your ass back together again. I'm sorry. He goes on and says that the Dupree women haven't had a lot of luck with men lately. And so he's like, all of us are a bunch of jerks, and I hate to admit it, but I'm one of them. And you sure as hell don't want to be a part of that club. So we're back to Nicole, Mona, and Kat, and they still talk about that jacket. So Nicole's like, I know we got this, but is it enough? So Kat looks in the pocket. There's another receipt in there about a thrift store that Mona and Leslie used to go to together, retail therapy. Girl, me too. I love a thrift. So again, the Kat says this is the thread that we needed to link Leslie to the motorcycle to Laura's accident. So they all get rallied together. They get ready to go take the clothes to the church. And so they get ready to go and check with the coffee shops and stuff. So Nicole said, I'm coming with y'all too. So Kat was like, Mama, you don't have to do that. She was like, no, we need to stop Leslie. So Kat was like, that's right. Well, maybe she'll figure it out that you can't mess with people that we love. And remember, Nicole said that when she told that to Laura, because she really feels that somebody came in there and messed with Laura's potassium level. She said, once I found out that somebody did that to you, they gonna have to know that they can't mess with people that we love. So I hope y'all love me like that too, y'all. I hope y'all do. So we're back with Anita and Vernon, and he's like saying, look, I can see that I was wrong about asking you to do this whole reunion thing. But I'm going to ask you, baby, I'm going to ask you just one last time, just one. And she's like, do I want this? Anita said, that's all she think about, honey. Being on stage with my sisters. I mean, feeling the fire, breaking the house down, making a room full of people fall in love and dance. And you know that before I could even admit it to myself? Yes, baby. You knew it before I could even admit it to myself. And yes, I want this concert. I want to feel that same feeling like I did. I feel it like I was that kid in Cabrini Green, reaching out to those dreams of success that everyone told me that was out of my reach. So she tells Vernon it scares the hell out of her And so Vernon tells her just to enjoy it. That's all. And Vernon was like, just enjoy it. So she says that even if nothing else comes from this, the fact that they can be a part of each other's lives, that gives her joy as well. Ding dong! The bell rings, and Anita goes to the door and opens it. She's not as afraid this time. And we see Sharon, honey, looking her, not up and down, but from down, looking, taking her time, looking up at her in her face like she's nothing. I cannot wait to hear this conversation. Sharon says, well, do I need an engraved invitation or special booties to get inside this palace? Next scene, we're back at the hotel with Ted, and he's on the phone looking at some beautiful pictures of Nicole, and his phone buzzes. Bzzz. So the florist, and they was delivered. She did come to the door, so we see her at the house, and beautiful flower arrangement. Oh, so beautiful. Thank you, Ted. Instead of you trying to just not, he's just like to stay clear. But then, especially he don't want to talk to Nicole. He don't want to be bothered with Leslie unless he has to. It's like, do whatever you can to focus on getting her back. Fuck Leslie. Just go ahead and, I mean, I'm sure she wanted to do that, but you need to focus on getting her back, doing whatever you can to get Nicole back. So she pulls out the cards from the flower arrangement, and he talks about how, how they met in Maui, and, how he saw the sunrise, but he saw it more in her eyes every day since they met in Maui, and he could smell the flower in her hair. So apparently those are the flowers, or those are Hawaiian flowers that she would wear when they were in Maui. So she actually takes one of the flowers and put it in her hair, which I think is, that's a step, right? That means she's accepting. She's accepted the flower, and she accepted putting the flower in her hair. She smelt it, and okay, I'm like, okay, maybe we're moving a little bit slowly forward to reconciliation. So we see Kat and Mona show up at Orphe Jeans, still talking about the jackets and stuff. So they asked people at the coffee shop. Of course, they wouldn't remember that. That was over 30 days ago. So Kat is going to have Jacob run some DNA or prints on that on that jacket. And so Mona was like, "Girl, if her DNA or fingerprints on the jacket, it just shows that she came into the jacket, and came into contact with the jacket at some point. But that doesn't mean that she was wearing it the night of Laura's accident." So, child, that bitch come from behind. I tell you, that girl, Laura, Leslie talking about, oh, I heard that it takes 3 witches to create a coven, but I guess 2 will do if you're motivated. She called them 2 witches, honey. Girl. So, conspiracy in that cauldron? What are you crones crousing on about now? Leslie, you're moving real cocky now. You're leaving clues, honey. So we are back at Leslie's house, and Eva has a spare. She's like, always have a spare. That's what you taught me, Mama. I knew that girl was going to have a spare key. So she goes right to the closet, get that black bag with that helmet and them gloves in there. And that was the end of the episode. It was pretty good. It was pretty good. It was, not too many pinnacles today, but it did a little cursive here and there. Ooh, it's a lot that's gonna happen next week. We got Anita telling somebody to stick it where the sun don't shine. We got Bill cocked over all on the couch. We got people yelling surprise. It's a lot, honey. That was a lot for my stimulation. But anyway, thank you for joining me today. Thank you for coming by. And I will see y'all on the next video. Y'all have a good one and a safe one. And see you with, I guess, episode number 64. Oh, we getting there, baby. We are getting there. And thank you for the growth. Keep sharing, keep commenting, keep liking, y'all, because we are growing. We are on the road to 1,000 subscribers, and we are almost there. I see it right at the tip of the rainbow. Bye.